Okay, for this afternoon breakout, okay, it will start with Kun Haruna Tsuchiya. Okay, she is a singer and actor, teacher at Mahidol University, Thailand, and she's going to speak about the power of the words unspoken. So, please give her applause.
Thank you ค่ะขอบคุณค่ะ 知らない街を歩いてみたいどこか遠くへ行きたい知らない海 I am starting to lose my voice on stage. I am in panic. What should I do? 歩いてみたい At that time, I hear a voice saying, "It'll be fine. Just let it be. Let it go." I follow my internal voice. I keep singing as Philomel, who lost her voice because her tongue was cut out by violence. どこか遠くへ行きたい Blackout. After I went off stage, there was a dead silence in the audience. It was the silence of the deepest ocean. After a while, I started to hear the applause. It was the end of Act 1 of a play, but that applause continued for a long time. And I started to think, what was that? Is this what it means to truly act? But I was not acting. So this was what happened when I was sophomore, year 2 in college. I was a musical theater major in a university in the United States. And I was in a play, and I was performing a role of Philomel. Philomel is a character from the Greek mythology. In a story, she was raped by her brother-in-law, and then her tongue was cut out so that she cannot speak the truth. And then she was imprisoned in a little hut in a forest. And so because she couldn't communicate, because she couldn't speak, she started weaving the story on a tapestry, on a fabric, and she told the story that way. And eventually the whole story was revealed, and at the end she was turned into a nightingale, the bird that sings at night. So 2 days before this performance, when I woke up, I completely lost my voice. I couldn't even make a sound. It was like this. I can only speak like this. And this had never happened to me before, and I was so scared. I thought that my voice would never come back for the rest of my whole life. And as a singer and actor, you know what it means, right? And but it turned out to be a laryngitis. And after the production, my voice slowly came back, and now I can speak again. But I thought, wow, that was an interesting coincidence that happened to me in my personal life. and to the character that I was playing at that time. And my acting teacher said to me, Haruna, now you understood what she really felt. And I said, yes, yes, because I couldn't speak. I said yes. And anyway, that happened when I was in year 2. 2 years later, when I was a senior in college, year 4, the similar thing happened again. I was playing a character called Laura in The Glass Menagerie. That's a play written by Tennessee Williams. And this character, she couldn't go to school because she was too nervous. Every time she go to school, she would throw up, or she was so nervous that she couldn't talk to people, or she would faint. It was just too much. For me, I couldn't understand why, because I thought I was the healthiest person in the world. I was never hospitalized, never broke any bones or anything. So when I was cast as Laura, I kept thinking, how could a person become that state? What makes her become like that? So I kept thinking, Laura, how can I be you, you know? And even when I walk to school or even when I'm eating, I kept thinking about her. And then one day, I had a seizure. Later, it was diagnosed as panic attack caused by hyperventilation. So too much breathing, too much oxygen. And so from these 2 experiences I had, I started to think, what am I doing? And what is the role as actors or performers? Because when I went on stage, not acting, I was simply dealing with the fear of having that attack again on stage. Like, I was so scared, like, okay, I just have to live through this 2 hours. Please let me do this, you know. I never prayed, but I never prayed so hard in my life. Anyway, so I started to think, okay, it seems like my audience reacted very differently when I was not acting. Something was so real and so profound. I felt that they felt deeper. They connected deeper to my experiences. But at the same time, I didn't want to risk my health or my life. You know, what if I had to do a person who committed suicide or who get murdered, or even more tragic situations. So when I went to a graduate school, I wanted to avoid and solve this problem of living the life of the character or the piece that I am doing. So I asked my acting teacher, who was considered as a master teacher in the States, and I said to him, it was after like a romantic scene I did. And then I said to him, oh, John, every time I play a romantic scene like this, I always fall in love with my scene partner. And then by the end of that production, my heart is broken because, you know, he's bailao, you know? Right? And then I said, how can I avoid this? What can I do to avoid this problem? Problem, I said. And then he smiled gently and he said, Haruna, I think that's beautiful. And he said, you have to, we, the actors, performers, we have to die a bit every time we finish the scene or the rehearsal. And then he smiled again and he walked by. And I said to myself, that's not helping, you know? He's basically saying there's no way that I can avoid. But later, I was slowly starting to learn that it is important not only to get in touch with those intense emotional life that we have to go through as musicians or artists, because I believe that's the core of the work we do, especially as professional artists, to really get in touch with the core being or the spirit. But I want to also emphasize the importance of getting out, or I like to call it as warm down. Instead of cool down, I like to call it warm down. So how do I set a clear boundary between my personal life and then the character that I am playing, so that I won't be affected in a negative way, or I don't want to risk my life or a health in a negative way because of the part or the piece I am playing. So I started to learn that our thoughts, imagination, and the words we speak affect our body so much, just like we were actually hearing earlier today in the other presentations. And my teacher said, what you think is what you get. And I went on further thinking, what I say is what I get. And I encountered this book written by Dr. Emoto. He studied about water. And he did experiment with the water and the words. So he had many water in a glass, like beakers, and then he put different words on the glass with the water in it. It's the same water. And then after while, he froze it and he observed the crystals that came out. So you might have heard about this. So I want to show you some pictures here. Yeah. Oh, okay. So when he put the word dream, this one is the dream, the top one. When he put the word gratitude, the water came out, crystal came out like this. So different shapes. And this one, he says this is the very special one. This one is love and gratitude, the combination of both. Yeah. Okay. And then the other one. This is interesting. So this one, when he put the words that says, I can do it, chantamdai, yeah, this came out. And when he put the words that says, I cannot, the crystal didn't really form like a proper form, like it was a little bit deformed. Yeah. There are many interesting ones. Like this one, things will go well for sure. Or this one, it will be okay. It's like that. So he experimented with many different water. This one, I'm tired. That one, I am super fine. I am energetic. Yeah. This one, of course, I cannot do it. It's impossible. And the interesting thing is, in the very last one, this one is the cooking by mother, like a mother's taste, like your homemade cooking. And this one is instant food. Those are the words that he put on the glass. So some people says that this research was like a weird new agey thing, but he discusses that our body is made 70% of or more water. So if we keep hearing or thinking the thought, the vibration of that energy will shift the water in our body, and that creates a different effect on our emotional life and to our physical health. So when I encountered to this research, I thought, this is it. So all the problems I had in my acting before, this is the reason, because I kept saying, oh gosh, my life is horrible, I can't do this, da 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 da. And then we rehearse hundreds of times every day, right, when we rehearse. So I kept hearing, even though it was the imagination, it was not happening to me personally for real, I kept hearing those words, and the words was affecting my water in my body. And later, I also found out that our brain cannot distinguish imagination versus what's happening for real. So that's why our image training, what athletes do, or dancers do, even musicians, we do some image training that affects our brain and then our whole system in a powerful way. Yeah. So after I started learning about those things, I started to think about the ways that I can draw a clear boundary between my life and then the character's life. So some of the things I would do is, first, I eat ice cream because I love ice cream, and so when I eat it, I feel good. So I just do it. Or sometimes after I finish the rehearsal or performance, I walk home so that during that 10 minutes, 15 minutes, my mind will be a little clearer by the time I get home. Or when I take off my costume for the character, I intentionally set a clear boundary. Now I am taking off this character, like I am leaving it there at the theater. Or undo my hair for the character. Sometimes for, I think especially for women, it is so tempting to leave your hair up. If you set the hair nicely done, you know, just come home like you did. But okay, I take it off so that I leave everything at the theater. So those are the things I do. Okay. Now, after I started teaching, I kept thinking about how words affect our body and how that could influence the students' performance. So these are, I think, very familiar things that we might hear in our classrooms or in our lessons. Here, you are playing flat. Is that familiar? Yeah. Singing flat. When I hear this, our focus is on flat, being flat. So our entire focus goes to that being flat. So I thought, how can I change this to more of a, in order for me to hear what I want to hear? So I say this: feel the higher end of this note. This, to me, is kind of like a game in word. We are kind of saying the same thing, but in a very different way. So when I say this, feel the higher end, my entire focus goes into the higher end. So the result might be the same, but just the way we say it, I believe that it could create a difference. You are playing too slow. Yeah. Then I would say, I'd like to hear it a bit faster. Yeah, so that our focus will be on the faster, because we want the faster thing. Yeah. Let's see. Ah, this one. That's not the right note. So we all experience this, and it is true. I am not trying to avoid, how can I say, the actual experience of what we are doing or what we are hearing, but we are just trying to shift the way we think about the same thing So this was a little bit difficult one for me to shift, but then I came up with this. That's a different note from what's written on the score. Well, so in this way, okay, usually people laugh. The students laugh just like you did, and then they would be like, okay, that's different. All right, then I might do this different one. And this one, you should practice this section more because you are not playing correctly. Yeah, this is a familiar one too. I said, take extra care for this section as you practice. Yeah. In this way, practicing is given. The other way, it's like, well, maybe you are not practicing, so you should practice. But in this way, yeah, of course you practice. So when you practice, you take extra care for this section. Yeah. Then, this, I saw the sign on one of the teacher's door one day, and I got a little bit nervous. My whole body went, if you don't practice, please do not come to the lesson. I know as students and also as teachers, sometimes we get very, very frustrated, and this is a real feeling that we might feel. But sometimes I get really irritated, yeah, over and over. But I think, okay, how can I shift this thought to a more of a creative way, productive way, so that I can be helpful instead of killing the motivation. So when you come to the lesson with your ideas, it will be more fun and exciting. So in this way, I am playing a little bit of game for myself and with the students so that we won't be trapped in a circle of negative spiral down, so that we could instead go up and grow together. Let's see, how am I doing with the time? Okay, so let's see. If you're willing, I would like you to do a little bit of an experiment. Let's see. If you want to be an observer, that's okay too. But if everybody could come out and make a 2 big circle, that would be great. Yeah, maybe we can move the chairs a little bit. 2 minutes. Okay, great. Maybe a few people would be okay. Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, this is good. Okay, good. Okay, perfect. Okay, can some of you be inside circle and then other people will be outside? Yeah, this is good. Okay, can you be like in the middle? Yeah, Kaka. Maybe like 4 of you. Yeah, okay. Okay, so the other people, okay. Okay, Ka. Okay, Ka. Whoop. Ka. Okay, and maybe, okay, that's good. Okay, so other people come into the circle. Okay, great. And if you could read this section with a heart mark on it, so I want you to receive those words with your eyes closed if you can. And so outer people, you would say these sentences to them first. Okay. So I gave them this same card. And then we want to see how these people might feel after they are communicated in this way. So with your eyes closed. Okay, quiet. Good.
You're playing flat.
Okay, just notice how you feel in your body and heart.
You're playing too slow.
That's too fast.
That's not the right note. If you didn't practice, kids will not come to the lesson.
Okay, just notice how you feel. Good. Okay. Now outer people, flip the side. Okay. Now open up your senses too again. Now we're going to do the similar thing but on the other side of the words.
Feel the higher end of this note.
I'd like to hear it a bit faster.
I would like you to slow down a bit.
At a different note from what written on the score. When you come to the lesson with your ideas, it would be more fun and exciting.
All right, just notice how you feel in your body as you received those words in different ways. Great. Okay. Ka. Thank you. You can open your eyes. Ka. Can I hear what you felt? Yeah. Ka. Ka. Can you share the
Like the first phrase, I feel a little weight of my heart. Weight down. But for the another one, I just feel like little.
Okay. Ka. ขอบคุณค่ะ Thank you so much for sharing. Ka. Thank you. So I might make mistakes sometimes even though I am careful. But by being aware of the power of the words spoken and also unspoken, I feel that we could encourage more inspiring artists and musicians in the world. So thank you so much for sharing today. ขอบคุณค่ะ
Yes, I hope that we have more time on this. Thank you for sharing your wonderful experience. Okay, ครับ finish นะครับ Do anyone have any questions to ask? Okay. Okay.
One question. Did you apply this method to all students that you teach? And do you think that it worked for every student?
That's a very good question. I try to use it to all the students that I work with in my private singing lesson for musical theater songs. Sometimes I use the other side. When students seemed not getting what I am trying to communicate, then maybe I flip to the other side and use a little bit of harsh tactics. It's like in acting, you use the soft tactic and then the hard tactic. So, but it seems like the other way of saying a little softer or more encouraging way of saying it, it seems like it starts to work. Right now, my very first students that I started to teach there in year 4, and I always encourage them to find something that they did well or something that worked after they sing. Instead of saying, oh, I missed that note, oh, that was not good, So, and then I would ask them, like, can you find even one thing that you did well in this song today? And then they think, and then they start to find something. But now when I ask, so how did it go after they finished singing? The year 4 students started to say, Ajahn, this part went well, but I wanted to change this section. So they started to say something good about themselves first. So in my own way, I am starting to feel the positive effect of this way of working.
I'm not sure whether it's a question or not. It's about at the end of the sections, you are pointing the impact and the forces between positive and the negative. And I wonder how is that every student or person would like to go for the rather positive, or they would prefer to go to the negative things. What I'm trying to say is, in my compositional practice,
Yes.
in my earlier training, my teacher is very, very strict.
Yeah.
So he point out very straightforward to the. I have never received any positive kinds of feedback from my teacher. So, but the good thing is, I got the result. I got the real answer, rather than someone who gave me a rather too positive kind of answer, which is not really useful for me. So I'll somehow choose for the negative kinds of forces to get more feedback from the from the person who sends me. So that was interesting. And how do you define and how do you take this idea, this transformations between negative, positive to the next level?
That's a very important question. And I think about that often as I am still experimenting with this. And in our culture, I think the students tend to crave for the negative or harsh feedback. And when they are not getting those harsh feedbacks, they might think the teacher is not doing their job. This teacher is too kind, she's not teaching. But actually, I believe that in my different ways, that I am asking for the similar result. Like if somebody is playing flat, then I want to hear it on pitch. But by saying it in a different way, I am asking for the same thing, using a different path. Yeah. So it's a question of culture in our educational environment and how do we deal with it. I think that's actually a very, very big topic that we could continue to discuss. Yeah. Yeah, but thank you for bringing that up. Yes.
Thank you. I think we have run out of time. So, but thank you very much. I think